Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this special light activation on the power of the sacred breath. So a lot of the times I see that we don't always use our main source gift, the eternal connection to our spirit self, and oftentimes when we are stressed and worried, and when we feel that we are in a state where we don't clearly feel our guidance, we don't realize that it can be done momentarily just by really attuning to our sacred breath. And a lot of the times we are so busy, even when we wake up, we don't think firstly to maybe just take 3 really deep sacred breaths of life. And as masters of the self, in the becoming, we need to start using that gift of breath and start working with breath. And as I've shared before, working that sacred breath of life through our spine to awaken the sleeping dragon, our Kundalini life force that just really begs to come to the surface once we start to ascend in a physical sense. And as we do so, we will feel more alive, we will feel more radiant, more pulsating, and we will notice many different effects. So we'll feel that our sleeping patterns have improved because we're breathing more deeply. We will feel that our connection to life changes. We see everything in a different light. We're able to be more present. Breath is presence. It's the gift of the now. So it's not just that we say, okay, I'm stressed now, so time to breathe very deeply, and you start to do, those inhales and outhales that might be stronger than your usual shallow breath. But it's how we breathe. So I'm going to show you a very simple breathing technique in this video. And we will work more with the breath in my focus mastery course, and we also do some breath work already in my course on self-empowerment in Ascension, because our power comes through really living in our presence. Our power is scattered when we don't live it right here and right now, and until we can find that strength to gather all of our presence in this very now moment, we can't really function in our greatest potential. So we always function to a certain degree, but never in our wholeness, in our completion. So with the breath, what we do is we start to be more anchored physically in this moment, but not just that. We start to activate the sleeping, divine, dormant potential of our soul to create. So breath is not just attunement to spirit, but it's also creation. So I'm going to show you a very simple breathing technique, and then we're going to do this short light exercise attunement. And I also shared a spinal breathing technique, which is actually, again, a short light activation on my monthly energy update for May on my SoundCloud profile. So check that out if you're guided to do that exercise. It's very powerful. And anything that we really do with the presence of spirit. So this means like constantly thinking and feeling spirit, not just, randomly doing something. So one advice, as I've shared before, is that every day when we wake up, instead of randomly going to do our chores and our routines, first, let us center ourselves into this reality, because when we wake up, it's that our soul comes back in the body. It's going to start to do things in physical form again. So breathing very deeply and reminding to take at least 3 sacred breaths of life is going to change our reality during that day. Maybe even the course of events will change, because first we have began the day really present, not just like, oh, today I have to do this and I have to do that, and then I have these errands and those errands, and then projecting all of our thoughts to other people, to other events, to external realities. But when we start to focus on the breath first, all the realities will start to come in a deeper sense, merging together as one in that synergistic reality that will really start to flow through us. And the breath is that conscious attunement with our own spirit self. And as we do so, when we learn to breathe correctly, we breathe with our soul. So we invite the light of spirit to move through our soul and enter our physical body. So if you're ready, I'm going to show you that sacred breath attunement. And like I've shared, you can notice many results, because a lot of times when people share on my page or when they ask me questions, they say, I'm stressed, I'm worried, this is the lowest that I can go, and I have so many challenges, I feel so challenged at this time. And at that moment, they forget that they have an instant connection to source, which is breathing. And a lot of times we search for complex healing techniques and modalities and I don't know what, and in truth everybody has their own healing gift of their own sacred breath of life. It's just that we started to complicate too much and we turn to all the different complex matters instead of the most simple spirit attunement tool that we're offered as divine beings, which is the sacred breath of life. So I'm going to show you this very simple breathing technique, which means that when you start to breathe, you know, it doesn't really matter where you place your hands. You can do one hand on your heart, the other hand on your belly. That's usually the most common position, but you know, your hands can also just rest alongside you, alongside your body. So let's imagine that, you know, you just woke up, or you know, you're entering a meditative state and you really want to be more consciously present. You want to breathe consciously. You want to enter yourself. You want to root yourself deeply into your body, and you're using the resource of your source self, the sacred breath of life. So what you can do is you can just imagine how the breath of spirit, of creation, enters into you through your soul, so that your spirit almost enters through you. And as it does so, it wants to become more and more physical. It wants to marry you. It wants to merge with you. And as you breathe, you're breathing in that spirit light. So what you do is you close your eyes and you imagine the center of your breath not forming just how we're used to it in our lungs, but the center of your breath goes very much down into the seat of your soul. This is a little above your navel point, so let's generalize and say it's your belly. And you start to breathe. You can use your hand for the beginning so it's easier, so you can feel the pulsation of your belly. You can start to breathe in your belly. So you start to move your belly, not just your chest, but you start to move your belly first. So you can imagine feeling more and more connected to the light of your soul through this point, engaging your belly, calming the rest of your body completely. So what you do is when you breathe in through the nostrils and then breathe out through your mouth, of course. And imagine that you're doing so in the belly. And as you do so, you're forming like your inner sun, a shining golden globe of light, of liquid light in your belly. So this belly will be almost like your center of power. But then what you will do further on is you won't keep it there. You will expand it up. You'll rise the column of that sacred breath. So you imagine now this beautiful golden liquid ball of light enters through rotating motion, like a spiraling movement. It goes through every vertebrae of your spine and intertwines around it. And as you do so, your breath attunes you to the very nature of the creation of your spine and its purpose. So you see that liquid, golden inner sun of your being to travel upwards through your spine. You see it moving upwards. It's like creating these beautiful spirals around you of golden color, of the liquid light of pure spirit. And now, as they come to the region of your heart, you start to feel your breath more deeply now in your lungs. Now you can use your hand on the heart area in your lungs and feel how that breath comes into your sacred chamber in your lungs, in your heart cavity. It just expands you and expands your heart area. But you don't stop there. You move the breath even further up. So what you do is with the sacred breath of life, you move the energy that you receive from spirit that enters through you. You move it upwards in a pulsating movement. And then you see how the life force enters out of you again. And as it does so, imagine like the shower of that golden light, which was in the beginning that solar light, the solar logos of who you are, so your solar nature, your radiant, luminescent self. But as it moves upward through the sacred breath, it explodes and it becomes these ripples that go out, these ripples of light. So this creation element is now present. So you're not just breathing through yourself, for yourself, but you're breathing with all of life in creation, and you overflow. So your sacred breath is not just for you, but it's a gift from spirit, a gift of the divine to this plane of existence, to this realm of material form, to this world, to this planet. And when you learn to breathe this way, you can, even with each breath, and maybe each morning, or when you do your meditation, doesn't really matter, it's how you intuitively feel guided. But you can use that power of the breath to create. When you know how to move your breath and not to keep it locked in a certain area or a certain chakra or a certain point in your body, so you always continue to rise its energy so that it flows, that it can create. Because a lot of times we don't do that. We stop it at a certain position, we feel challenged, we feel closed up. It's because the energy is not in flux. Energy always needs to be in flux, because we're beings of constant motion. Creation is constant change, and when we don't live that way, we actually don't engage in our fullness of who we are. We don't participate in the fullness. We don't partake in the totality of who we are. So when you do that, and when you imagine that rippling out, you can even give it intent. The shower of my sacred breath today is, its purpose is to spread love, or, to share joy, or to create a new relationship, or create a new space for my projects, or whatever it is. But these things will be of higher nature because they come through the sacred breath of spirit. So you live and breathe through spirit. Spirit is you. You are spirit. And I really advise that we start doing this on a regular basis. So it's conscious breathing. It's not just saying, okay, I'm stressed now, okay, breathe deeply. But we're still breathing in a shallow sense. We're just doing it strongly. That doesn't mean that our breath is correct. So when we learn to breathe with spirit through the aspect of light that we are, and we actually start to anchor our light body. Because we start breathing with our light, we're anchoring our light body, a rainbow body form, merging into unity consciousness. So this is a different way. It's not just you saying, oh, I'm stressed, I'm going to start breathing. It's not the same. And the thing is that the deeper we will go into that breath, the more centered we will be, the more we will actually be in the state of complete detachment from things. And in that state, we will get clarity and guidance and a knowing of what is and what we're supposed to do in this moment. And don't forget that you can't know everything for every single thing that's coming up next, because your knowing is always based in this now moment. I always say this, spirit guidance is always in the now. So each step will present itself through you. And when we learn to breathe this way, we're not constantly rushing ahead of ourselves and making all these plans and projects and making assumptions which will change, will alter. Remember how many times you probably had this idea and in the end it didn't come out the way you thought, but it did happen and it did unfold perfectly eventually. So through the sacred breath of spirit, we learn to have that trust. We learn to be in our presence right here now in our full power, but detach from what we're supposed to be doing and really instead just being in what is necessary for the greater good and unfoldment of our spirit and form. So I really recommend that when you have those moments when you feel stressed and challenged and rushed into something, or you don't know how to make a decision, choices are still very challenging for most people. And with the sacred breath attunement, you can start feeling yourself more deeply, and you won't feel challenged in your choices. Instead, you'll gain more passion for your choices. Also, not just when we're stressed, but a lot of times the overwhelming energy comes in our physicality. And since our physicality is not mature as much as our spirit is, a lot of times we are so overwhelmed with our creativity, and it can't all be done right now. We need to have trust and patience that we're going to be guided to do the right things at the right moment. So when the feeling of overwhelmingness, the feeling overwhelmed comes, we also sometimes tend to have these scattered thoughts. Okay, so what am I supposed to do next? There's just too much. And at that time also, sacred breath of life, up until the point when it just becomes our natural state of being, when we don't have to think, okay, I'm stressed, now I'm going to do this exercise, or okay, I'm too overwhelmed, I'm going to do sacred breath of life breathing technique. But it needs to become us. We need to become it. We need to start using it, because we are here to show how spirit lives in form, in its completion, in its natural way. So I hope this exercise was useful for you. It was a short light activation in a way. And as always, so much love, wisdom, and power, and I'll talk to you as soon as I can, and I'm guided to. And thank you everybody who's donating to Ascension Pioneers. I'm really grateful. It means a lot to me. And I hope to expand on many, many things more as time comes. So bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.